drive. I know it won't be long before dawn. Gotta be patient for a while. Someday we'll look at stars in this same sky. When I'm on the other side. Take me back to the life that we once knew, when the walls weren't closing in like they are now. Cause it's been too many years since California. I wish I could get there, I don't know how. See, one day I'm gonna reach ya, take a plane for many miles. We pretend that time didn't pass us by when we're on Mulholland Drive. I know it won't be long before dawn. Gotta be patient for a while. Someday we'll look at stars in the same sky. When I'm on the other side.
I'm here only because your stare won't ever let me go. I'm here only because I'm aware with you is better than all alone. Oh, 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 say what you're dying to say. No, oh, tonight we're stars but we'll fade away. Go on and light me up, oh, go on and light me up while we're golden. Come on and light me up, oh, come on and light me up before we come down. Stars will always come down. So
Hello everybody, welcome into Talladega Superspeedway, where we are getting ready for race 11 for the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. Drivers gridding up now, and let's get started right away with your starting order tonight. The Dale Cup boys are back, and they are going to be making up that front row. It's Steve Korsek sitting on pole, and he's got his teammate Cody Nagels to his outside. Row 2 is going to be Sean Hill, and this is a guy that is no longer on McCall Motorsports. We're not 100% sure on what team he's on yet, but we have an idea. I look to see him work with that 15 machine of Jeff Merck. We'll find out as the race goes on, though. Zachary Lima, that's the third Dale Cup driver in the field tonight. He starts fourth. Kevin Fraze, fifth. David Sheets, that is a McCall Motorsports driver, in sixth. Jason Maines and Jeff Merck make up row 4, and it's going to be John Ellis Jr. in ninth. Danny Eshelman 10th. Chris Vanderplatz, I know he was in the chat wishing himself good luck. He currently sits, or is going to start rather, in 11th, and he's got David Drohan to his outside in 12th. Moving on down to 13th, it's going to be one of the broadcasters in the field, Jacob Emery, 14th. Brandon Broadfoot. Christopher McCall from McCall Motorsports starts 15th. He has Dylan Jones to his outside in 16th. Michael Triscaro, Team PGR's own, starting 17th with a McCall Motorsports driver, Ken McCall Jr. to his outside in 18th. Row 10 is going to be Ron Morse Jr. and Mike Davenport, and the last car in the field tonight, rounding out row 11, starting 21st. That's going to be Mark Von Dell, another McCall Motorsports driver. Let's get down to your race info. You know where we're at. The fastest track in NASCAR, the over 2.5 mile, 2.65 miles to be exact, track that is called Talladega Superspeedway. Looking at the weather outside, it's going to be 83 degrees, 55% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and wind is at 9 miles an hour, which could have a little bit of an effect on the way these cars handle. Looking more at the track, looking at the track temp, I meant to say, it is at 125 for the start of this thing. That's pretty hot. These guys might be struggling a little bit with grip. Mix that with the wind. We'll have to see what happens. We are in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, 60 laps as always tonight, 100% fuel, unlimited tires. It's going to be one fast pair for the guys that need it. Fixed setups, 2 green-white checkers, and there will be a stage break. That stage will fall on lap 20. Setting a couple more things up, but while we do that, we'll head down here trackside. Give Steve Korsek a little more acknowledgement. Boy, these guys, you know, I don't get it. you could, I know some guys that probably found a way to figure out, watch these guys. We used to watch them qualifying. We don't anymore. The broadcast we don't even play qualifying in general in the broadcast anymore because we kind of learned that some guys do certain things. They don't want people seeing it. So I figured, you know what? I might as well just sit back, set up some more stuff. And once we get to race time, we'll get underway. But the point I was getting to is guys have tried everything to beat these guys. There's been guys that even try to run, I guess what you would call the same line as the Dale Cup drivers, and they still have not found a way to run faster than them. And you see that right here with Steve Korsak getting on the pole tonight. Points are going to start to play in. Well, I mean, they've been playing in the last couple weeks, but we're really starting to narrow down on that championship race. We'll talk a little bit more about points, etc., as this race goes on, but these guys, a lot of them going to need to have a good night tonight, and a lot of them can't afford to have any mistakes. 60 laps, bump drafting, fast-paced, high-bank action, getting ready to go green here at Talladega. Korsak and Nagels, Hill and Lima. Kevin Fraze, who are we going to see make that third lane first? Green flag is in the air. Pretty even jump. The Dale Cup teammates stay side by side as they get across the line for the first time. Sean Hill already making contact with the back bumper of Steve Korsak. He is going to continue to do that all the way down or through turns 1 and 2 and then down the Talladega backstretch. Danny Eshelman already gets in that top group. Looks like he maybe wants to fall back early. We have seen chaos in the early stage here of the Tuesday Night Thunder races, so not too surprised to see some of these guys jumping back. But it looks like John Ellis Jr. maybe looking to go the opposite way while he is jumping to the outside line. Doesn't look like he's necessarily trying to go back. It looked like maybe he was trying to go forwards, and I take that back. Maybe he was trying to fall back. He is going to settle in behind it. Looks like Dylan Jones, who has now worked his way down to the bottom up front. Steve Korsak, Cody Nagel still 1-2. Sean Hill would love to get a chance to take that outside, but to do that, he's going to have to push Steve Korsak clear, and that's not going to be an easy task. Drag race to the line for lap 1. It is going to go to Cody Nagels in the 6. With the assist from Zachary Lima. Jeff Merck, if him and Alex Hill get together, well, Sean Hill, we call him Alex, you can call him either one, but if we see those two get together, we'll see what happens. Those are two of, I believe, the new teammates. We'll see just how fast they are once they link up. I'm waiting to see if Jeff Merck wants to go 3 wide. Doesn't look like he'd have any help right now, but now we see Christopher McCall going up there to maybe try to give some assistance to his teammate David Sheets, who is currently the highest running McCall Motorsports driver. Jason Maines sitting on that inside line in the 13 car, excuse me. I meant to say in that 4th row, but Steve Korsak, he's just going to run the bottom for now. Sometimes we'll see these guys start to play games, they'll move up, but I think as long as we still have just these 2 lanes, nobody's going to try to do anything too crazy. If a 3rd lane starts to really form up, that's when we might see the Dale Cup teammates trying certain things to make sure that they don't have anybody giving them a hard time. Chris Vanderplatz currently sits 10th in the number 10. He is up 1 spot from where he started. Driver out of San Antonio, still kind of a new guy. He's got a couple weeks under his belt now, but has not ran the whole season, but we like to see him out here, and he puts up a pretty good race every time as Jeff Merck jumps to the outside. Is Christopher McCall going to go with him? No. Looked like he wanted to, but he knows he's got his teammate in front of him, so he's going to think twice before he goes to help the 60 machine. And just as I say that, now he's going to go ahead and do it, but Jeff Merck does fall back behind David Sheets. It's going to be 17 laps to go here in stage 1, so everybody's staying pretty tucked, pretty settled down right now. Nobody doing anything too crazy just yet. David Sheets is not one of the guys that usually forces it 3 early, and I was going to say, I know we'll see Jeff Merck continue to try it, but I think David's got to be a little careful here. If he's not trying to go to the back, he's got to make sure that he stays aggressive. Now he's stuck in the middle. No help behind him, but he's still got those 2 cars of Zachary Lima and Cody Nagels in front of him. But the 3 on the outside, Jeff Merck, Christopher McCall, and Brandon Broadfoot, they're all looking to get to the front. Brandon Broadfoot in the Discords earlier today was letting everyone know he's ready to win. He's tired of seeing the same old guys win it. He said no, well, we can't say the word he said, but no profanities are going to be given here tonight. Looking a little bit more towards the back here, we got Mark Vondell currently rounding out the field in that 21st position. It is a McCall Motorsports driver. Michael Triscaro for Team PGR, him and his teammate Mike Davenport, they're both sitting back here in 19th and 20th, just riding around right now. Ron Morris Jr., of course, the owner of RMR Money Racing and the founder of the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. He currently sits 18th. It's going to be Danny Eshelman 17th, John Ellis Jr. 16th, Dylan Jones in 15th, Ken McCall Jr. He currently sits in 14th, up 4 spots from where he started. David Drohan, 13th. Jacob Emery, 12th. Chris Vanderplaat's 11th, and everyone else on is in your top 10. And they're getting racy. That third line has really started to figure it out now. They've got some cars. They've got enough help to make it work. And now it's looking like the middle line's the line that's going to be in trouble. Watch for Steve Korsak in the 27th to jump to the middle here. Zachary Lima's going to have to start doing a lot more pushing if he wants to keep Cody Nagels out in front. The thing that's really going to hurt that middle right now is these track temps. You see it at 126 degrees Fahrenheit. Those engines are going to heat up really quick, and they're not that easy to cool off. And with Lima not having any help from behind, he has to stay a lot closer, push a lot harder the back bumper of his teammates, so that car is going to get a lot hot. Oh man, that was really close, a lot hotter, a lot quicker. Jeff Merck and Cody Nagels almost banged doors. These things will stick together. Sometimes you got to be careful doing that. We've seen netcode be a little bit of an issue the last couple weeks. Wouldn't want to see it tonight. Kevin Fraze, one of the best pushers that you'll find. He currently still sits on the bottom in that 4th row. He might be working... Actually, I take that back. I was going to say maybe he's working with Dale Cup tonight, but he does still have Jason Maines and Dylan Jones in the field. So I think he's working with them, because I was going to say, I'm a little surprised he hasn't jumped to the middle just yet. But that would probably explain why. Up top, they still have not figured out a way to get clear. Very impressive to see these two cars in the middle of Zachary Lima and Cody Nagels hang on for this long, but both some of the Super Speedway pros, and you're seeing why. Let's ride on board here with Zachary Lima. Oh man, it looked like maybe there was some contact there. You saw his wheel jerk really hard for it. Oh, there must have been, because he fell back right there from Cody Nagels. This is really going to hurt them. Lima's holding as steady of his wheel as he can. He sees that 60. Jeff Merck getting a run. There we go. Big bump coming up for Cody Nagels. Lima stays nice and smooth. You see he's dipping that left side out just a little bit, trying to get any air that he can whenever he's got an opportunity to do so. You see on the back of Cody Nagels' car, his Twitch channel. Shout out to Cody Nagels. Go follow him on Twitch. But Steve Korsak been out front on the inside at least since we dropped the green, got the pole. He's led all 8 so far. And by led, I mean lead that inside lane. Cody Nagels has actually led a few though. Christopher McCall looks like they have dropped back down to 2x2. Jeff Merck had fallen back, so maybe that outside lane was actually lane that got hot, and that was a very, very impressive maneuver from those two guys that are leading the outside right now, and that's going to give them a boost of confidence, because now they know that they were able to defend the outside line even when they had double to triple the numbers that they had, and they will make sure that they note that for later. And like I said, Steve Korsak, I expected him to have to maybe go up and help Cody. That's what they'll do if they start to fall back too far, but didn't have to do it. Was able to stay on the bottom. Zachary Lima was able to make it happen, but now Brandon Broadfoot once more, he is going to jump to the outside, and he better hold a steady wheel, because he's going to have Jeff Merck behind him. Christopher McCall, he wants a piece of that third lane as well. Ken McCall Jr. seemed kind of riding back. It looks like everybody is still riding around right now. I will say Mark Vondell's got to be a little careful here. The gap right now is only half a second from the car in front of him, but the more these guys start to spread out, more of a chance that they maybe lose the draft. They still got a couple of the big hitters back here, though, such as Dylan Jones, John Ellis Jr., Danny Eshelman, Ron Morris Jr., Ken McCall Jr. I mean, all these guys that are in the back, they know what they're doing, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Meanwhile, up front, they are back to 3x3 racing. Steve Korsak on the bottom, Cody Nagels in the middle, Christopher McCall up top. Brandon Broadfoot was looking for a push, didn't get too much that time. Now we see Christopher McCall jump back down to the middle line. Alex Hill looking to get a push here on Steve Korsak. You see he's got the Bathing 8 paint scheme. I believe that's a popular shirt brand. I know I saw that shirt anywhere, but Alex was telling me the other day that was one of his favorite brands. Steve Korsak, trying to think what strategy these guys would be looking for here. You got to think they're sticking to the same strategy that they stick to every week, and that's pretty much just stay out here, try to get this stage. There's some bonus points up on the line if you win that stage, which don't forget, stage does end on lap 20. That means the caution will fly on the start of lap 21. Get yourself some bonus points going to the pit, and then after that, technically we can go green the rest of the way. And well, in terms of these guys can make it on fuel the rest of the way, they wouldn't have to make green flag stops is what I'm trying to say. And with that, that's going to mean that the racing is going to stay 3x3 door to door like it's been. Ooh, Brandon Broadfoot Looks like he almost got him to that outside wall in the turn one. Christopher McCall realizes he now has no push. He drops back down to the middle, and Brandon Broadfoot goes back down to the bottom. Ooh, we got one falling back here. Looks like that is going to be Jason Maines. Not sure if he just didn't want to be up here, what the case is, but he is going to fall back a few positions, jumps in front of Danny Eshelman. Maybe he's trying to link up with his teammates. These guys might be trying the strategy of flipping track position. If he can get with John Ellis Jr., Dylan Jones, I'm not sure if Kevin Fraze will jump back there or not, but if they can get three of those guys together, they could pit here with 1 lap to go in the stage, and then they will stay out and not have to worry about pitting again and also get themselves the lead. Cody Nagels gets clear of his teammate for just a second, but he's got, and never mind, I was going to say he's got no plans to drop down, but sure enough, that's what he does. And that might have been because Zachary Lima really needed some fresh air to the front grille of that 12 car. That puts Christopher McCall up to second on the outside. David Sheets, those are a couple of teammates. Ooh, man, a lot of wiggling going on. They're going to try to split Lima. Cody Nagel sees that, says not so fast, jumps right back up to help his teammate. Just as McCall Motorsports think maybe they got the upper hand, Dale Cup trying to outwit him here again. Brandon Broadfoot on the bottom. Will he go with one of these lanes to help him out? Ooh, Jeff Merck washing up a little bit. Oh, he gets into Cody Nagels. I knew that was going to happen. That spins Cody around. Cody gets tagged. Oh, man, that's a mistake, and that's going to take out a couple of the front runners. Cody's going to get that thing stopped before he gets any more damage done to it. You saw him wash up once, and then the second time, it might have been netcode, but the swerving was what kind of initially had caused that. And Cody Nagels has a lot of damage to the back end and a pretty good amount to the left front. Let's go take a look. See Jeff Merck here on the bottom. We'll play this slow for you. He's coming up, he's coming up, he's coming up. Just a slight tap. Again, I'm not sure if it was netcode. We'll look from the different view, but whatever sent Cody around. Somehow pretty hard. Brandon Broadfoot, nowhere to go. That's where the left front damage for Cody Nagels comes in. Doesn't look too bad for Brandon Broadfoot from there, and then he's spinning back up here. Going to make more contact with the 42, who also just had nowhere to go. That's David Drowan. Let's go back down here. Try something a little different here. Let's look at let's look from the chopper view here. I want you to watch the 60. It's that blue and yellow on the bottom. Looks like he's coming up here. Does he make contact? No. Doesn't quite make contact. You saw him coming up, but looks like he doesn't quite make contact. Man, it was really close, but it looks like it wasn't contact. It was netcode. But of course, as we were saying, the netcode kind of caused from, I think it might have been Jeff had went up initially, came back down. The second time he went up, I guess iRacing thought maybe he was going to hit him. Not sure, but it's a tough break. Look at one more angle of it here. A couple more angles of it, really. And this is the best view we can get you. Watch how close, how close, how close. Man, just can't tell. Either way, they got really close together, and it sent Cody Nagels around. Silhouettes a couple times before finally coming to a stop, and we'll see if he decides to use his fast repair on that or not, as it looks like Robert Miller says he's got a short bed now. Well, he did. He certainly did. But it looks like he has used his fast repair, so now he's going to have to be a little bit more careful for the rest of the night. But we're only going to have what looks to be 5 laps to go, I believe, once we take the green here for the stage, assuming we get the 1 to go signal this time. Your current leader is Christopher McCall, one of the guys we saw trying to get that third line working. The highest running McCall Motorsports driver, of course, because he is in the lead. Jason Maines up to second. John Ellis Jr. third, and then you have to go back to fourth to find the first Dale Cup driver now in the field. That's Steve Korsek. Sean Hill rounding out the top 5. Jeff Merck 6th. Chris Vanderplatte 7th. Danny Eshelman 8th. Ken McCall Jr. 9th. And Kevin Fraze rounding out the top 10. And I was telling Kevin this the other day. He's still got my favorite driver picture. You see Ted there in the tux. These guys come up with some funny stuff. I have seen some interesting driver picks. Over the time I've done broadcasting, I've seen a Mr. Incredible. I've seen the Ted. It's just been some crazy ones. We always like to see it. And then, of course, if you're new here and you haven't seen it before, some of these guys have custom helmets that look pretty gnarly. One of those being Steve Korosek. I don't know if you can see it there, but you see he's got the angry face inside the cockpit. And then Zachary Lima, I believe sure enough, he has Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, I think it is. And then Cody Nagels might have one as well. Yeah, it looks like he's got something. Can't exactly tell what it is. Jason Maines with him starting on the outside. It looks like John Ellis Jr. is going to be behind Christopher McCall. So those two teammates aren't going to be lined up, but we'll see if they can find a way to get lined up. Again, 5 laps to go, and the stage is a couple laps to kind of get things sorted out, and then a couple laps to go at it. I'm sure we'll see a third lane. Hopefully these guys can keep their cars clean for those 5 laps until you definitely don't want to get yourself in a wreck for the stage. I know everybody's got a fast pair, but any damage that you can save for later, the better. As these guys are getting ready to go green, get some reminders out of the way now. First reminder is where we head next here at Ghost Racing Network, and that is on Thursday. We go over to PGR for the Blaster 120 and the Craftsman Truck Series at Talladega. PGR, week in and week out, continues to be, I would say, maybe the most trendy money racing series, if you will. They've had 30-plus drivers the last 2 to 3 weeks. Matthew Baker joins us in the booth, so it's always a good time there. We had Cody Nagels the other week, and just everything about it. That series is probably one of the most exciting series that I'm doing right now on Ghost Racing Network, and I love going over there and watching those guys just as much as I love being here and watching these guys on Tuesday Night Thunder. And what I'm really getting excited for is that championship race. You talk about going at it, and guys are going to be going at it for them. Looking at the points real quick, if you will, Jason Maines does currently lead that battle with Steve Korosek second. Jeff Merck moved up to third after last week. Matthew Baker fourth. Michael Triscaro top 5, rounding out the top 5, if you will. Brandon Broadfoot 6th. Danny Eshelman 7th, 8th. Jacob Emery 9th. Garrett Maines, Zachary Lima 10th. Mark Von Dell 12th. 13th is going to be Mike Davenport. 14th is Ron Morse Jr. 15th, Christopher McCall. And it looks like 16th is David Sheets. Actually, I may have read one of those guys wrong. So it looks like Dylan Jones and David Sheets are the last 2 in right now. And the way this championship race format is going to work is really interesting. For the championship race, you're going to have payout for the race, plus a championship payout. So let's say that the guy that wins the championship wins the race, could go home with $800 for a $25 entry fee race. That's pretty wild. And it's going to give a lot of guys a chance to win. Of course, you can only go for that championship pot if you are in top 16 for points for championship. And then anybody that wants to race that day, of course, can go for the usual top 5 payout, which we do have here tonight as well. If you want to get yourself involved in the action, go check out Tuesday Night Thunder in the RMR Discord. We got it in the description. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. Christopher McCall with a pretty good jump. He's going to get some help here from John Ellis Jr. Steve Korosek, he's going to try everything he can to push Jason Maines out in front. Or will we see him take it 3? Jeff Merck, one of the guys that likes to go 3 wide, but if they both go 3, that might put Kevin Fraze in position to get up behind and push his teammate Jason Maines, and they might try to steal the stage. The backstretch is where the momentum is really at its highest here on the first lap. That's where you really got to defend from that outside, but they're not going to do it. Jason Maines gets clear by a mile. So does Steve Korosek. Will Steve try to dart to the inside? He's wanting to hold the outside. And sure enough, he does. Now we see John Ellis Jr. jump up. They leave Christopher McCall. Jason Maines on the bottom. He's only got help from one car. He's going to continue to fade right here. Will we see Steve Korosek drop lower? Does he try to stay high and prevent Jeff Merck from doing anything? He's got about 3 or 4 cars before his Dale Cup teammates. Jeff Merck dives low. Is going to prevent any chance Steve had from doing so. And now they're going to split him. John Ellis Jr. to the high side. Big push from Kevin Fraze. Sean Hill chose to go with Steve Korosek, and John Ellis Jr. saw that. He's going to have to drop to the middle. Leaves out his teammate Kevin Fraze, but they know they're going to have to try something. Ooh, John Ellis Jr. is in trouble here. Jumps to the high side. Can Alex Hill follow? He does. Now John Ellis Jr. is the one that looks to be in trouble as the 2 other Dale Cup guys are trying to get up to his back bumper. A little bit of clearance here if Steve Korosek wants to take it. He does, and he feels very comfortable off the front end of Sean Hill, the 21 of John Ellis Jr. Now he's got Kevin Fraze back up in front in the 3rd row. I'm looking to see him jump up top any minute. And there goes the 21 car to the 3rd lane, the 42 David Droin. You saw him. Looks like he is slow with an issue on the apron right now. 3x3 coming to lap 18, 3 to go in stage 1. Jeff Merck still leading the bottom. We know he likes to push, but you better believe he wants to lead right here. These guys are really staying pretty separated right now. Handling hasn't been too much of an issue, but we are seeing a little bit of snaking around here. Oh, we got one that's going to drop out of it. That's Christopher McCall in the 94. He was on the inside. Not sure if he was maybe getting a little hot or if he just didn't like the action that he was seeing up here. But he's going to fall to the back, and any chances he had at the stage here. Track temp has cooled off about a degree, but that is not very much, and the wind is still whipping at 11 miles an hour. It is varying slightly in speed and direction. And we are going to have, it looks like one pit here. Is that Jason Maines, or is that, I believe that's Jason Maines. Sure enough, it is. A little surprised to see this strategy, especially with just one car. But Jason knows that next lap will be the white flag lap in the stage, and he is going to try to flip the track position. We'll see how it pans out. Now Alex Hill has found his way to the front. Steve Korsak pushes him up the track, and now he is going to take the lead on the bottom. Sean Hill stuck in the middle. John Ellis Jr. up top with Kevin Fraze. And for a little bit of a smaller field for what we're used to having here, the Tuesday Night Thunder Series, these boys are going at it, and it's been pretty clean overall tonight. That's what we like to see. Looks like Mike Davenport, he is trying to put himself up here in the mix in the 55 Blaster paint scheme. 24 Brandon Broadfoot, he's trying to hang with these guys as well. Looks like the 20 Jacob Emery, he is sitting in the back trying to push that 24. Do we have a couple more pit here? We did, and it's going to be the 25 of Kevin Fraze and the 10 of Chris Vanderplaat. So we got one on the tribal apron here. Couldn't tell who that was. They got it sorted out, whoever it was. And this is the white flag lap in stage 1. These guys are a mess up front. Not that many cars, but they are 2 and 3 wide. Now Brandon Broadfoot's got to run up top. Cody Nagel's up to the middle line. Steve Korsak on the bottom. Can anybody else get a run? Jeff Merck is pushing the bumper off Steve Korsak right now. Cody Nagels and Zachary Lima. And Jeff Merck always trying to jump up top. Steve Korsak's going to throw a block. Jeff Merck says, all right, I'll try to go a little higher. The problem is he's not going to get any help. It gets left out to dry. Will anybody else look to make a move into the tribal? Alex is trying to side draft Cody. It's not going to be enough. Now we see Cody jump to the top. Tucks in back behind his teammate. Nothing there. Steve Korsak wins the stage in Tuesday Night Thunder. Yellow flag flies to wrap it up. Looks like coming in second is going to be Cody Nagels. Sean Hill third, and Zachary Lima fourth. Jeff Merck rounding out the top 5. And these guys have been putting on a heck of a show early. What we're going to see now, though, it's going to be a little different, is all those guys that you saw that were sitting back choosing not to race, they're not going to have that option for too much longer, at least not if they want a shot at the money. Remember, at this point in the season, a lot of drivers are probably just going for points. They want to make sure that they can secure their spot into that championship race, but a lot of these guys are just saying, I'm going for the win. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, so be it. But Dale Cup is going to have all their guys lined up inside the top 5, assuming at least for this next restart. But we did have a couple guys flipping strategy. A couple of those guys did include Jason Maines, Kevin Fraze, Chris Vanderplaats. I'm not sure if John Ellis Jr. was in it as well. David Drohan, who he's still pretty banged up. He might have to use his fast spare. He should still have one. So we did only have one caution. He is currently a lap down. He should get the lucky dog, or if nothing else, the wave around. Get himself back up on the lead lap. Looking around here, it looks like Ron Morris Jr. and Ken McCall Jr. did stay up inside the top 10. Mike Davenport, one of your bigger movers so far the night, he was sitting back a little bit earlier. He made a comeback. Him, Jacob Emery, and Brandon Broadfoot, all guys that are looking to try to do a little bit more than usual tonight. They are not going to stay too calm for too long. Brandon Broadfoot wants a win, and I would certainly count him in as a chance to get one right now. Up 8 spots from where he started. Looks like he finished 6th in the stage. You might have something for him. All right, we are going to take a quick side-by-side break while these guys are under caution. But we will be right back, and you won't miss a thing. Back live here at Talladega Superspeedway for Tuesday Night Thunder. We have completed 21 laps so far, actually maybe just 22, but we are getting ready to go back green. You see the lights on the pace car are off. Everybody is good to go on fuel, and the guy leading them back to green looks like it is going to be either Cody Nagels or Chris Vanderplaat, depending on the way they line up. Actually, it looks like let me go down track sign here actually real quick, because I don't think we actually did get the one to go signal this time. No, I do apologize. I should be getting it next time. And it looks like the front row is going to be Cody Nagels and Chris Vanderplaat. Row 2 will be Steve Korsak and Sean Hill. Row 3, Jeff Merck and Brandon Broadfoot. But now the race is on. We might see some of these guys sit around still. We do still have a bit under 40, probably 30, 36-ish laps to go once we take the green here. So you can maybe ride around for half those laps, but after that, track position is just too important to try to wait till the end. I think you got to start trying to make your way to the front. And if we get a late caution, hopefully you have the track position you need. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. I know it's a little bit of a maybe a smaller field than what a lot of people are used to expecting. We got a little bit of a smaller audience as well tonight. I know a lot of guys in here are the drivers, but it means a lot when everybody's out here, and I hope everybody is enjoying the broadcast. Now, Cody Nagels leading. He did have to use his fast pair, but I think he's in the safest place he could possibly be right here. But then again, I mean, he was up there leading on that first caution and he got turned. Well, not leading, but up there. So maybe it's not the safest place to be. We'll have to find out. But I just saw some guys come down the pits topping off on fuel. And this is just in case we go into any overtimes. These guys want to make sure that they don't have to pit. Because although everybody's going to be good on fuel, if you didn't top off right here, it might be a little close on it how many overtimes you can make it. Maybe one. I don't know if you can make two, and probably definitely not three. Jason Maines, John Ellis Jr. You also saw Kevin Fraze. That's a trio of teammates. They decided to top off, and it looks like Ken McCall Jr. and Danny Esterman. They also topped off, and the last car off of pit roads is going to be the 7. Going back up here, I wanted to see, looking for the 7 real quick. And I'll tell you what, the 7 is Mark Vondell. That had me really confused for a second. I was sitting there saying to myself, I've never seen the 7. I'm not sure who that is. And that's Mark Vondell, McCall Motorsports driver. He's run a different paint scheme than we're used to seeing him in the 59. I'll have to keep that in mind. Danny Esserman just in front of him. So is Ken McCall Jr. That's one of Mark Vondell's teammates. Watch for these two, John Ellis Jr., Jason Maines, to make a run to the front. Kevin Fraze isn't too far ahead of them either. If those three can get together, they'll be just as dangerous as the 3 Dale Cup drivers. And McCall Motorsports, we talk about them all the time too. They're probably, well, one of the longer running teams in money racing at least, and they are always around at the end. The only difference between, I'd say, them, Dale Cup, and the Maines team is that they like to sit back usually a lot longer and wait till the end before they want to get aggressive. Strategy works out sometimes, sometimes it doesn't. That's the beauty of super speedway racing. You never know what you're going to get. Decently long single file line back there. Those are the guys that did top off. They have to make their way up here. Ron Morris Jr., the last car on that outside line with Mike Davenport just ahead. Brandon Broadfoot. I think Sean Hill might be able to get Cody Nagels clear here. We know he knows how to push. And Chris Vanderplaat, he better hold on because he's got one heck of a pusher behind him as well. And Steve Korsak. It is going to be 36 laps to go as they roll through the trioval. Up now into the Geico restart zone. He can go whenever he wants. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. Pretty good jump for the inside. Chris Vanderplaat's got a great restart, but so we talked about Sean Hill. He's already locked on the back of Cody Nagels, and he is not going to unlatch from the back of his bumper until they get enough of a run to try to get clear here. Down the backstretch right now, I'd give the advantage to the outside. Oh, but the 77 falls off the back just as the 27 gets linked up. If Cody Nagels gets clear here too, does he take it? It's borderline, and now the inside's going to make a comeback. Steve Korsak giving a big shot to Chris Vanderplaat. Cody Nagels still borderline clear. He is not going to take it, though. He stays up in front of Sean Hill, and didn't I say if these two right here, Sean Hill and Jeff Merck, get together, watch for them. That's what we're going to have to do. I believe those two might be teammates. We'll know if one of them makes a move and they both go with it. Now Brandon Broadfoot, he's going to try to rock that third lane with help from Christopher McCall in the 94. Mike Davenport sticks middle. David Sheets, Ron Morse Jr. looks like they are up top right now as well, but they're not close enough to make an impact. Ooh, Chris Vanderplatz gets off track into turn 1. Gets out of the throttle to hold on to it, but he does save it. Not sure exactly what happened there, but man, that was really close. Maybe a little door contact. I couldn't tell. But he gets himself gathered up, and he's going to tag onto the back of the pack. He will be able to stay in the draft. Good news there. Good save, too, by the 10. It's an attaboy right there. Making sure that he did not come back up. Make sure he check up. They didn't clean out the rest of the field. That has put the lanes back to 2x2, and it's almost like a 5-car little pack here. Everybody else is still together, but the separation right now is pretty massive. On the track map, it doesn't look all that big as, guess what? Jeff Merck, Alex Hill, they took Cody Nagels 3 wide. They went up top. Steve Korsak getting to help his teammate out, and now Sean Hill going to try to slam the door on that Dale Cup duo. Steve Korsak and Cody Nagels, can they make a move? I know Steve is going to push the daylights here out of Sean Hill, but he's got him broken up a little bit right now. This is a good position for that 77 to be in. He's also got his teammate to his outside. They just got to be careful here, though. You don't want to do anything silly that's going to cost you. Steve Korsak right now, his main goal is to try to push the 77 clear, and if they coordinate it right, they could have Sean drop low at the same time that Merck drops low, but didn't look like they were quite able to make anything that fancy out of it right there. Now Steve Korsak back up to the top line behind Jeff Merck. Cody Nagels sitting in the middle. And Jeff Merck is not going to get the push he wants to get just yet. He's waiting to regroup with David Sheets. That's going to stall him out side by side. So it's Zachary Lima still leading the bottom. Alex Hill in the middle and Steve Korsak up top. And on the bottom, they don't have that third car really tucked up tight. That is the 20 of Jacob Emery. He's sitting back a little bit. Oh, man, Michael Triscaro. He's ready to go to battle with these guys. He jumps in line behind Jeff Merkin. It's kind of cool. It's just, it seems like everybody that was in that third lane, with the exception of Steve Korsak, were all the guys that were looking to put it together to try to get around the Dale Cup drivers. And, you know, Jeff Merck, he's looking to force it 4 wide now. Maybe he's just getting some air, actually. For a second, I thought he was doing 4, but I think he was just maybe trying to get some air to the front grill. Oh, Brandon Broadfoot, he got shuffled off track. He's going to have to slow down and blend back into the traffic as well here. Now they look almost 4 wide again as Cody Nagels jumps up top. Sean Hill is clear low, and now both Dale Cup drivers go down. Boy, what a move from Steve Korsak and Cody Nagels. Christopher McCall is looking to maybe jump. Oh, contact. The 34 is around. He's going to go for a long slide down the Talladega backstretch. Comes to a stop before hitting the inside wall, and I don't think he's going to have too much damage. Just got turned around, though, unfortunately. Yeah, gets that thing rolling now. Looks like the only damage is really to the back end of that 34, so I think he's going to be okay. May not even have to use his fast repair just yet. Now, he was one of the guys who was really getting after it, getting aggressive. And we'll see if does he maybe make some contact here with Jeff Merck. Well, looks like he actually comes down, gets into Lima. That sends him back up into Jeff Merck. And the 34 goes around. Let's take a look at that. A little bit of a different perspective here. Yeah, you see just kind of comes down there on Zachary Lima out of the turn. He might have been trying to get a side draft. Not really sure, but once they got hooked together, yeah, just gets down in to the right side there. That sends Lima up. Boy, Zachary Lima is lucky to not have gotten spun off the front nose. Same with Jeff Merck, and then, wow, David Sheets. Heck of a maneuver. He jerked the wheel left to make sure he could miss the spinning 34. Ken McCall Jr., he is going to sneak through this as well. In fact, the rest of the field is all going to sneak through it. Let's take a look here, or ride on board rather, with David Sheets. Watch this. Wow, that was really close. I don't know how he was able to decide which way to go in that split second, but prevents himself from getting probably what would have been a meatball and a torn up race car. Cody Nagels is going to be your leader here at halfway through Tuesday Night Thunder. We are going to be hitting lap 31 this time. Steve Korsak second, Christopher McCall third, Sean Hill fourth, Zachary Lima rounding out the top 5, Jacob Emery sixth, Jeff Merck, he's going to pit seventh, eighth is going to be Ron Morse Jr., ninth Mike Davenport, And running out the top 10, the man who just had the wicked save, that's David Sheets. We just put up a quick poll on whether or not you think Dale Cup's going to win tonight. Make sure you go vote on that. I know what the answer might be, at least if everybody that's watching the broadcast right now is a driver. I think it's going to be a big no, but realistically, I think they got a pretty good chance at it. It looks like we do already have one vote for no. Speaking of, I know we mentioned earlier the PGR race that's on Thursday. That's been the series so far that, you know, as good. We've seen all the good teams in it, but we really haven't necessarily seen any of the good teams just straight dominating it. There's been so many guys that the mix throughout the field has been so great that these big teams really just can't dominate as much as they do in some of these other races. Not because they're not good or anything, just because you throw in so many external factors. You have more cautions, more unexpected incidents, unexpected strategies. Always makes it very interesting. And this caution here makes things a little bit interesting. Like I said, nobody should have really had to use their fast pair right there except maybe Michael Trasquero. In fact, we can go take a look at him. And it looks like he has chosen not to. The only damage is in the back end where it looks like he maybe backed into a tree or a light pole. But that should be okay. We've seen guys work with damage in the back. Lots of damage, and they're fine as long as you don't have any on the front, which if he looks like he maybe has just a little dent in the left wheel well area, but I think he's going to be okay. We did have Heath Job say in the chat, get it Trasquero, and I think I remember looking at that, and I saw that pop up just before he spun out. But it's looked like we should get the one to go signal this time. It would put us 32 of the 60 laps in a 29 lap stretch to the finish if we can keep it green. Everybody's good to go on fuel. The intensity going to start ramping up once we get inside those final probably 20 to 15 laps, and then once we get within 10 to go, that's when things are really going to start getting crazy. Let's go through your running order through the field from front to back. Chris Vanderplat's currently the last car on field. The good news is we have only had a few guys have to use their fast pair so far tonight. We have only had two scheduled cautions. That third caution that you see showing up on your scoring tower was the stage break that we had, which was a scheduled caution. Kevin Fraze actually is going to be scored in last position as of right now, but nobody's a lap down. We got Jeff Merck here in 19th, Brendan Broadfoot 18th, 17th is Michael Trasquero, 16th Mark Von Dell, 15th Jason Maines, 14th Danny Eshelman, 13th John Ellis Jr., 12th David Drohan, 11th Ken McCall Jr., 10th Dylan Jones, 9th David Sheets, Mike Davenport 8th, Ron Morris Jr. 7th, Jacob Emery 6th. Moving on to the top 5, we'll do this from front to back. It's going to be Steve Korosek and Cody Nagels row 1, Christopher McCall and Sean Hill row 2, and Zachary Lima and Jacob Emery making up row 3. Heath Job says, what's up, Austin? Great commentary. Well, thanks, Heath. I'm glad you're out here enjoying it. Getting real tired tonight. I got a math test coming up. Got a couple exciting things, though, coming up. We're hoping to make the college series, another qualifying wrapped up for that tonight. What I just realized, though, in reference to that, is hopefully I didn't have to have over a certain safety rating because I was down to the 1.5s from Super Speedway racing, so I'm going to be pretty upset if I find out that that was the case. I would have just not really raced, but we'll see what happens. We'll go check it out after these guys wrap up Tuesday Night's Thunder. Racing here, though, has been, so far, I think I've liked this race better than it's been the last couple weeks because everybody's just kept everything clean. You know, we've had a couple cautions for little mistakes here and there, but that's what you expect at these super speedways. And wrapping up the poll about if Dale Cup would win tonight, unfortunately, it looks like we had 3 votes that said no, and I think if I could ask one of the Dale Cup guys right now, they would say that you guys are all haters. And I'd put my money on them still. They got all 3 cars up there in the top 5, and they are looking to try to secure all money positions if they can do it. But, of course, it is a top 5 payout, so they can only secure 3 out of those 5 spots. All right. Pace car, the lights are off. He is going to pull off this time. We're going to roll up into that Geico restart zone and go green with 28 laps to go here at Talladega. For this restart, I think we're going to go ahead and do our Crank It Up segment. Here we go.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag.
3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1,
And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy that. Up front, it's Cody Nagels and Christopher McCall. But now Steve Korsek's going to jump to the outside with a push from Sean Hill in the 77. David Sheets third on the outside, and he's got a teammate at Ron Morse Jr. behind him, fourth on the outside. Was waiting to see that third lane form. You see, it looks like so far at least that pack's a lot tighter for this restart. And we are approaching 25 to go. That's what we're going to hit next time. And there goes Kevin Fraze with John Ellis Jr. We'll see who else decides to tag onto that train. Makes it 3 cars now with Jeff Merck, David Sheets, Ron Morse Jr. They want a piece of the third lane as well. And this is going to put Steve Korsek in trouble. They might have to pull Cody Nagels up to the top. Still 3x3, David Sheets. It's going to take a little bit to get that momentum going on the outside. It's not an instantaneous thing. You got to kind of wind it up. It takes about half a lap to really get going. And then after that, it just becomes a battle of willpower. Who wants to push harder and who can manage their temps better? Ron Morse Jr. continuing to push. He's got a little damage to the front end of that 76 machine. And they're going 4 wide now. Kevin Fraze to the inside of Jeff Merck. Going still 4, now back down to 3. 4 wide's not something that we see a lot here. We usually see it over in the dash for the Cash Series. But they did it for just a split second. Still 3x3 for most of the field. Jeff Merck now behind John Ellis Jr. And boy, that third lane is really not making much progress. And I was just going to say, I look to see John Ellis Jr. probably bail out of that here. Regroup with his teammates. If they can pull Kevin Fraze up with them, they will wait for that third lane to finish dying out. And then they will be the ones to gladly accept the challenge. Part of the reason that third lane isn't going as well as it normally is that track temperature. When these guys have a really hot, or when the track temp's really hot, these guys just seem to struggle on that third lane. You see it is still at 125 degrees. Wind's still been varying between 8 to 11 miles an hour, maybe even a little less. Temperature outside at 83 degrees. Duck has joined on the broadcast. Good to see you out here. Hope it's going well. The 60 of Jeff Merck still in the middle. Jason Maines, John Ellis Jr., they're lined up. But Kevin Fraze still sitting back a bit. This is where you start to get a little nervous. You see a couple of these cars really moving around in the back end. That wind does play a little bit of a factor whenever these cars tuck out and line the draft, change it up a little bit. In fact, let's look at the speeds. These guys get up to in the corners about 186. Let's see what Cody Nagels can get up to here on the straight with a push from Christopher McCall. So we look at Steve Korsek. Interesting to note, these Xfinity cars, I'm pretty sure everybody knows, but they only have 4 gears, whereas the next gens have 5. That's why you might see those 4 out of 5 on the bottom. They got up to about 190. They're entering turn 1. That might be a little quicker as the night goes on, as guys start pushing harder. Oh, the 42 gets up into the 13. Sends them around. This is going to be a pretty big wreck. Jason Maines spins. So does Brandon Broadfoot. The 06 David Sheets gets turned, and these guys aren't going to be too pleased with that one. That was one of those guys that was supposed to be holding his lane on the bottom, hits the apron, comes back up the track, causes another wreck. I believe that was David Drowan. Unfortunate way for the 4th yellow of the night, 3rd unscheduled yellow of the night to come out. Let's take a look at it here. Watch the 42 has already hit the apron at this point. Looks like, boy, he looked like he might have been struggling a little bit for a while as we got into this turn. Watch the 42. 5th car back on the inside line. See, this is as we first get into the turn here. He's starting to wash up a little bit, and then he's going to go really far down, and he's going to slam the apron. And that's going to kind of send him back up the track. And then is he going to get all the way up into, actually, no. He does come up the track, and it's hard to say on whether he or not he would have hit Jason. But it was, oh, and we'll slow that down. I don't mean to play it that fast, but it looked like netcode between the two. And I know we keep saying that, and I know it's annoying, but, you know, when we're up here in the booth, we kind of just try to call what we see. And I've learned that the drivers tend to like when we call it a little bit friendlier than more aggressively. And that's just what it looked like. I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of a mistake here on the 42 by hitting the apron coming up. It's hard to say on whether or not they would have made contact, but before they had a chance to, you see that's where that netcode happens off the front of the 13 of Jason Maines. iRacing thinks the 42 is going to hit him, and who knows? Maybe he would have if we didn't have the netcode. It's hard to say, but then the 13 gets up into Danny Etchelman. Tag from Jacob Emery, and it's on from here. I mean, a lot of these guys just going to have nowhere to go. See David Sheets, Jeff Merck, Brandon Broadfoot. He was trying to sneak by. He's going to get up here, and him and Jacob Emery are going to make significant contact. David Sheets, he's not done wrecking just yet. The 34, Michael Triscaro, nowhere to go. There goes the 76 of Ron Morse Jr. trying to get around. Looks like the 55 of Mike Davenport. He may have snuck around it. Give you a couple more views of it here. And boy, that's a ride on board right there with Chris Vanderplaats. So I don't know how he missed Jason Maines, but he did. That was a very, very close call for the 10, but nice piece of driving to get around it, keep himself from getting any damage. Going back live up front, your current leader is going to be Cody Nagels, Steve Korsak second, Christopher McCall third. It's going to be Sean Hill fourth, and Zachary Lima sitting in fifth. Jacob Emery said that he got the motor blown. That means from that accident, he did get a meatball. The motor blew up. He had to tow. He says, I'm going to go at least a lap down. Well, that sucks. That's not what we like to hear. Bad news, of course, is, well, just that he is going to go a lap down sitting on pit road, and a lot of these other guys are too, so he is going to have his work cut out for him. Going to be fighting for that lucky dog spot, but we'll see. I've seen Jacob come back for more, if you will, so I wouldn't count him out by any means just yet, and we know things are going to get crazy here at the end. Looks like we're going to have a restart with, or inside rather, 20 laps to go. And we are going to take one more side-by-side commercial break. We'll stay here the rest of the way, but we'll go Ghost Racing Network side-by-side so you don't miss a thing. Welcome back to Ghost Racing Network here at Talladega Superspeedway for Tuesday Night Thunder. We are getting ready to go back green here, under 20 laps to go. In fact, it's going to be 19 to go with Cody Nagels and Steve Korsak making up row 1. A couple of ex-teammates here making up row 2. That is going to be Christopher McCall and Sean Hill. Row 3, Zachary Lima. We've seen him up here quite a bit tonight, but Dylan Jones, he's one of the really good guys, but he is another one that likes to kind of sit around and wait till the end. And that way he knows if he is going to accidentally get in an accident, he will still have a fresh car and not have to use that fast spare any earlier. Ken McCall Jr., he sits 7th, up 11 from where he started. John Ellis Jr., David Drohan, the man that kind of sparked the net code for that last incident. He's having a good run, though, overall, sitting in 9th, up 3 spots from where he started. Chris Vanderplaats in the 10 machine, sitting on the outside. Kevin Fraze, 11th. Mike Davenport, 12th. David Sheets, 13th. Danny Esserman, 14th. Mark Vondell up 6th and 15th. Jeff Merck going the wrong direction, down 8 in 16th now, 17th, Michael Triscaro. Jason Maines, 18th, Ron Morse Jr., 19th, 20th, Brandon Broadfoot, and Jacob Emery in 21st, sitting a lap down. The good news for you, Jacob, is you are the only car a lap down right now. All you got to do is somehow try to avoid the wreck, because we're probably going to have at least one more before this thing's all said and done. But we are about to find out. It's been a busy night so far, and we have seen some games starting to be played up front. We'll see if we see any more start to get played right here. Let's ride on the gearbox here of Cody Nagels. Christopher McCall gets right to that bumper, not shy to make any contact. And it looks like almost an even start. Actually, the outside got a heck of a start. Steve Korosek, will see, can he maybe get clear of Cody Nagels here down the backstretch? 19 to go. Remember, I think, in my opinion, you can sit around maybe for 9 more laps if you so choose. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. And then I think once we hit 10 to go, I think it's got to be go time, at least if you're wanting a shot at the money. If you're wanting to stay safe and play for points, well, maybe you shouldn't have shown up tonight, but since you did, you might as well just stay in the back and ride it out. Hope that you can miss all the contact and incidents that are going to occur at the end of this thing. Saw Jason Maines dicing it around back here. He's trying to make some moves that look like he did not use his fast repair. That 13 is pretty banged up, but he's staying out. If he can stay in the draft, he'll be okay. He currently sits behind Jeff Merck in the 60. We got one on the apron. That's the 42 of David Drowan. He's fallen back. The 27 of Steve Korosek still leading this outside line, but he was not able to get clear. Now we're going to see a third lane. Ken McCall Jr. When you start seeing this guy go, you know it's go time. Chris Vanderplat's looked to go to the top with him, but now they're all going to abandon that. As everybody tucks low, he's going to wait for help from his teammate, David Sheets. Sheets looking to get some momentum here on the middle before he can get up to his teammate. But I think maybe these two jump back in line, maybe get a little momentum back. No, they're going to stick to this third lane. Nobody's going to want to go out there yet unless those two can start to make something happen. Once they do, all of a sudden you're going to see everybody want to magically start jumping to that outside lane. Steve Korosek, Sean Hill, those two have linked together a couple times tonight. It seems like it's been working pretty well between them. Wouldn't be surprised if they finish that way as of right now, but the rest of the field, I don't think they want to finish this way. Christopher McCall, he'd like to get himself a win, and so would Sean Hill. Dylan Jones, he's going to have a teammate. All of a sudden, here comes the outside. Big momentum from Ken McCall Jr. Up top now, Dylan Jones with a 22, trying to get dead even with the 77. And he is almost there. Look for the big run here down the backstretch. If it's enough to get clear, watch for Cody Nagels to have to jump up top. Steve Korosek continues to handle the push nicely from Sean Hill, but how long can it last? Big momentum. Can Ken McCall Jr. get clear into turn 3? Not quite. Oh, man, David Sheets gave him all he had, but it wasn't quite enough. Man, oh, man, one thing I do want to note real quick is these cars, ladies, it is not easy to cool these cars. I know we've talked about it over and over again with the weather. Track temp has been hot. Winds have been an issue. But I want to show you a little bit what I'm talking about. You see the opening here on the grill? Well, that's what you're going to see a lot of these guys, at least when they're trying to cool, they'll dip out to the right side or offset to the right a little bit. You see Christopher McCall get a little offset right there. That'll help keep those oil temps cooler. However, they're going to have to still worry about the water temps, which get hot just about no matter what you do. Only thing you can do to really cool that is back off. But right now, nobody's backing off. We got 3 even lanes. The bottom is the only one that doesn't have 4 or more cars. Just as I say that, here comes the 55 of Mike Davenport to make that no longer the case. Can Ken McCall Jr. get cleared? Not quite. But I'm telling you, this outside line looks like the place to be right now. We got a couple McCall Motorsports fans in the chat. Robert Miller, John Ward. Looks like Gene Coleman is rooting on Chris Vanderplatz. And I believe it's Caro. I don't know if I said that right. Also rooting on McCall Motorsports. 15 laps now here left at Talladega. And what I thought would be maybe these guys sitting around a little longer has turned to well, go time for just about everybody right now. Unfortunately, we've got a couple guys that are not in this lead pack. David Drowan, one of those, and Jacob Emery, the other. And unfortunate news here for Emery is he might be in danger if we don't get a caution here until late in this race. He could go another lap down, and if he goes 2 down, then all of a sudden it goes from you still got a good shot at getting that lap back to maybe not so much of a shot at getting that lap back. I noticed some damage on the front end here of Steve Korosek. That little amount of damage would not affect him at all if he's in the draft, but maybe that's hurting him a little bit out front right now because that middle line has just not been as fast as the inside. And when we saw that top a minute ago getting it going, where they were really showing a lot of speed, if anyone else could get cleared, it'd be interesting to see if they try to jump up. And Sean Hill's been pushing really hard for a while, but he seems to be managing temps just fine. Same thing for Christopher McCall. David Sheets pushing the daylights out of his teammates. You got to wonder if he's starting to get a little hot. Cody Nagels on the bottom. Steve Korosek still hold the middle. Those two teammates, they usually try not to jump in front of each other. Oh, David Sheets flirting with the outside wall there a little bit on the straightaway. He's trying to push his teammate, but he doesn't want to offset him. And if Ken McCall Jr. could even get slightly clear, he is going to slam the door on Steve Korosek. Dylan Jones has really been hanging back in that middle line. I'm a little surprised. It seems like it's working out okay, though, overall. The middle line has still maintained momentum. And this could be Dylan maybe saving some temps. Now he starts to tighten it back up, but I noticed the 22 slacking a little bit here. He might have just saw a run, though, and now he's going to go. Can he jump to the outside? He can't. Sean Hill continues to stay in the middle. I think, or I would have thought maybe he was one of the guys to look for to jump to the top, but he feels comfortable pushing Steve Korsek right now, and I can tell you why. I've been behind Steve. Feels like you can push him with just about anything, and he is going to keep that car nice and straight for you. And whenever you're behind somebody that doesn't wiggle when you push them, it makes you want to push them that much more. Kind of, I guess, the same deal when you're leading, but, man, I don't know how some of these guys do it. Whenever I'm out in front and I get a push, it always feels like that thing wants to turn straight left or straight right. But everybody out here making it as if it's not an issue, and with Dale Cup still leading the way, Christopher McCall is maybe the only thing separating Dale Cup from the top three right here. Zachary Lima is trapped third on the inside instead of second, pushing his teammate. But this is where you start to get in that gridlock formation that we see the field, where everybody gets three wide and there's just not going to really be anywhere to go for much longer, unless, of course, you want to try to force a fourth lane, but usually doesn't end too well, at least not if it's not meant to be. You can't really force a fourth lane. It's almost like one of those things that's got to just happen naturally. The 60 of Jeff Merck and the 24 Brandon Broadfoot, they are sitting back right now. They don't want any part of this action. David Drow and Jacob Emery, we have talked about them. They are currently spread out. Not on the lead lap right now. It's Jacob Emery. David Drowan still is. He might be in danger eventually, but he's got a lot of room. Jacob Emery, though, the field coming out of turn 4 as he's just entering the trouble. He is definitely going to go a lap down, or another lap down, putting him 2 down. Up front, the outside continues to try Chris Vanderplatz. You see the 4th car, Kevin Fraze. He's still sitting in the back. Him and John Ellis Jr. both. I'm surprised that they're hanging in this pack as well. Usually once you get that far back, there's nowhere to go. You don't really stay close. You just kind of fall back. But let me tell you, they know a lot more than I do, so they have got something figured out right now, and we'll see if somebody leaves it open. Don't be too surprised if John Ellis Jr., Dylan Jones, or Kevin Fraze try to make a 4th line. Push is starting to come to shove. You see Sean Hill. He is starting to move around as well. He is pushing Steve Korsek to everything he's got. Just don't overheat that thing right now. I know Steve Korsek's probably thinking in his head, I'm going to need you to have temps for that last lap. It's all great. You keep me out front now, but if you can't keep me out in front that last lap, it's not going to matter. Ken McCall Jr. has continued to get that 3rd line all but clear, but they haven't been able to do it just yet. And the best way to generate momentum, I feel like, is what they're doing right now. If you just stay side by side, kind of just keep side drafting each other, there's just not much to gain. But if you start to back up that lane, as we're seeing the 3rd lane do, then they get linked together. They'll get a big run down one of the straightaways, and that's their best shot at getting clear. Alex Hill does have a little damage on the left side. To note that, as Jacob Emery, it looks like, has maybe... No, I don't think he's pitted. I think he's just hopping off the track for these guys. And he's going to hop in the back of the pack, as we noted he was getting ready to go a lap down. And if you are just tuning in, we are now in the final 10 laps here at Talladega for Tuesday Night Thunder. Cody Nagels currently sits in 1st. Steve Korsek 2nd. Dylan Jones 3rd. Sean Hill 4th. And now Ken McCall Jr. 5th. But guess who has now moved up to lead that 3rd line? It's Dylan Jones in the 22. He's getting a big shot from Ken McCall Jr., who has much fresher temperatures right now than Sean Hill. And Sean Hill's got to be really careful. Dylan Jones slams the door on Steve Korsek. Will he decide to drop low? That was a power move from the 22 with the assist from the 03. And what is Dale Cup thinking about doing now? Can Steve Korsek find a way if he gets clear of that outside? I've got to believe he's thinking about making a move. That's going to switch up who's pushing who. Ken McCall Jr., though, is going to cool that car down just a little bit here by staying out in front. And what that's going to do is when Steve Korsek jumps up top, they're going to be able to push a lot harder. Steve's clear now. If he wants it, he's going to have to go sooner or later. There he goes. He's trying to bring Sean Hill with him. The door, it's borderline. Now it's closed. He's not going to be able to do it. Gets a side draft off Dylan Jones. Here comes Ken McCall Jr. 8 laps to go at the line. Cody Nagels still feeling comfortable on the bottom with Christopher McCall. Can Steve Korsek get clear? That time he can't. He tried. He almost got there, but it just was not quite enough. Dylan Jones still hanging that middle further back. We got a couple of these guys that are just looking, realizing there's nowhere to go, so they're just kind of chilling out. Mark Blondell, Brandon Broadfoot, Jason Maines, It looks like one of the blaster schemes. I believe that's Michael Triscaro. Yep, sure enough it is. His teammate Mike. Oh, we got contact. Contact. Can they save this one? Oh, no, they can't. Oh, we got a couple around, and yep, there we go. That's going to be a big wreck. Man, I thought they were going to hold on to it. They couldn't quite. Chris Vanderplatz is in it. Man, he was having a good night. Brandon Broadfoot, Sean Hill. This is going to set us up for a very chaotic finish. Unfortunately, of course, we had hit the awkward camera angle view right as they started wrecking, which was the one thing I didn't want to have happen. But let's see where this is going to start. Ooh, man. They are 4 wide. Does someone decide to go 4 wide here? Was this a checkup or something gone wrong? It almost looks like it starts further ahead here. Watch the 77. Oh my goodness. Was this Ken McCall Jr.? So Steve Korsek's going to get clear. And what happens sometimes, we haven't seen this for a little bit, you kind of get that tunnel vision. Ken McCall Jr. maybe thought that it was clear down there, or maybe not so much that. He was just kind of focused on following Steve Korsek. I have done that countless times. And now they're going to get 4 wide, the 77 on the back bumper. Dylan Jones, he's trying everything to save it. 77 now is going to get down. Oh my goodness, the netcode just started becoming absolutely wicked here. They actually had all saved it, but then the netcode just started making things so much worse. Watch this. Ken McCall Jr. saves it. The 22 looks like he's trying to save it. Then watch this netcode right here. I mean, they are not even close. Again, you know, the 77 maybe was going to wash up to him, so I guess it doesn't necessarily matter all that much. And then you see Chris Vanderplatz, Danny Escherman, they get up to it up top. John Ellis Jr., he's going to get some contact. I think Ken McCall Jr. maybe got the worst. Further back, there goes the 6 and the 10. The 77 is going to tank slap the outside wall with the right side. It's a pretty big hit. And there goes Ron Morse Jr. He's trying to get by with as minimal damage as he can. Let's take a couple more views of this here. Go back to Ken McCall Jr. here, because that's kind of where it initially all started. Back this up. Take one more view of it on board now with the 03. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about here. And you'll see, watch what he can see here when he's pushing the 27. Play this slow for you. See, he can't really see that much. He's trying to follow the 27 to push. Follows him down here. Doesn't even realize, I'm assuming at least doesn't realize that Dylan Jones is down there. That's where that contact's going to occur. But everybody did a good job of initially holding it together. But then unfortunately, iRacing, netcode, and whatever else went on there is just going to finish them all off. The good news here is this should, I believe, give Jacob Emery one of his laps back. Bad news is that if they could have done it a lap or two sooner, he wouldn't have had to worry about still being trapped 1 lap down. But yes, he is now 1 lap down, so he did get the 1 back. Things are going to get wild here, though, because it's only going to probably be 4 or 3 laps to go once we take the green. So I wouldn't count Jacob Emery out just yet in terms of he could still get another caution, get back on the lead lap. But the man that's leading the way right now, and he has led quite a few tonight, is Dale Cup's Cody Nagels out of Rolla, Missouri. Second is Steve Korsek out of Cleveland, Ohio. Third, Christopher McCall, Savannah, Georgia. Fourth, Zachary Lima, Atkinson. And rounding out the top 5 is Mike Davenport from Colorado Springs. Kevin Fraze, he's up here. Boy, if you want a guy on you for the overtime, that's going to be Kevin Fraze because he knows how to push. Mark Von Dell, 7th, up 14 spots from where he started. Really good run here for Mark. He's looking to get himself in the money. Remember, it's got to be the top 5, so right now Mike Davenport is the last paying position. Jeff Merck, 8th. Michael Triscaro, 9th. I believe he should still have some damage in the back. Let's see if we can see it here. No, he has chosen to use that fast spare. He decided, all right, it's go time. I want as fast of a car as I can get, so he uses it. He is now sitting in that 9th position. David Drohan in 10th after falling off the pack, so he's got a shot at it as well. Jason Maines, as he used his fast repair here, it looks like he has as well. So a lot of these guys that were damaged, and then of course Sean Hill had to use it after that contact that just occurred. Ron Morse Jr. has used his now. Ken McCall Jr., David Sheets, they both used it. Actually, no, David Sheets has not. Wow. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what, the 06, you know, David Sheets maybe doesn't have one. I'm not 100% sure. A little surprised if he had one, why he wouldn't use it. Brandon Broadfoot, we saw in a wreck earlier. That car is not looking too good. Neither is the 6 of Danny Eshelman, and Jacob Emery still perfectly clean right now. Just unfortunately a lap down. His best bet with no one else being a lap down is going to be just to stay as far away from the mess that's about to happen as possible. So it's going to be a 4-lap shootout here once we go green. Cody Nagels and Steve Korosek leading the way. We're now working our way down the Talladega backstretch, the Alabama Gang super stretch. So 4 laps to go gives everybody a lap to get up to speed. That getting up to speed lap is so much more crucial than you would think, because that's actually the lap where you can usually make the most happen. Once everybody's up to speed and gets 3 wide, that's where it becomes really hard to make any positions, because it just seems like there's really nowhere to go unless you have a whole team supporting you and you can somehow find a way to shuffle through. But now Dale Cup, we got one of them on the inside leading the inside, and then you got 2 of them leading the outside. And you know that they're not going to leave each other, and they know how to play enough games where if one of them gets left out, they'll have another one jump high. So at this point, I think what might happen is you might see Steve Korosek, if he gets clear, drop low in front of Cody Nagels, and then maybe jump out. It's hard to say, but Zachary Lima here, I don't look to see him take it 3 wide. Who I do look to see take it 3 wide, though, is going to be Kevin Fraze here. And I know Jeff Merck would certainly go with him. The 42, hard to say. 77, Sean Hill, you know he wants to make some track position. The 10, Chris Vanderplaat, same thing. Rolling off turn 4 now. The pace car is going to pull low before he drifts down to pit road. Everybody holds that nice steady pace speed. Let's ride on board this time. Let's ride on board with Kevin Fraze here for this restart. Pretty good restart here from Kevin Fraze. He's working his way through the gears. He currently sits 3rd, but the outside line looks to have a little bit of an advantage. Christopher McCall, though, is keeping Cody Nagels up there by staying on his back bumper through turns 1 and 2. Kevin Fraze is going to get really close to Zachary Lima, maybe even trying to push him a little bit. Look how quick he works that wheel. Going back live, they've already gotten 3 wide, and guess who took it 3 wide? The man that I said would. That's Kevin Fraze to the outside. Oh, now he jumps back to the inside. Jeff Merck is now going to lead that 3rd line. He's got the 77 of Sean Hill with him. I'm not sure if Kevin Fraze didn't like what he had behind him or what. But it's go time now. Wherever you get, you're going to have to probably stay there as they drop back down to 2x2 at least for the first 4 or 5 rows. We're coming to 3 to go this time. Remember, if we can get to that white flag, and we will finish this thing under green. Jeff Merck trying to side draft. He's got help from his teammate Sean Hill, but with only 2 cars, that's not going to be enough. Kevin Fraze still hanging with. Now Michael Triscaro is going to jump up to the 3rd line. Got to be careful here. Jeff Merck, a very aggressive pusher. You got to really make sure that you hold on to that car, because he is going to try to push you through the turns. And off of 2, Triscaro. Does he have a run here? Jeff Merck falls off his bumper, but he is still gaining ground. Couple guys still sitting back. A little surprised about that. David Drohan being one of them. And then, of course, Jacob Emery staying way out of the mess here with Brandon Broadfoot, who unfortunately just cannot keep up with the damage he's got. Oh, some contact. Jeff Merck's trying to make Michael Triscaro 4 wide. He does. They're still trying to get around him. Oh, Steve Korosek, Lima get together. Oh, a couple more wrecking. In the wall we go again down the track. No, if they all keep it off, this is not going to draw a caution. And it doesn't. Dale Cup is out of it. Or at least a couple of them are. No caution, 2 laps to go, and now it's a breakaway between a couple different packs. Cody Nagels is leading. Christopher McCall 2nd, Jeff Merck 3rd, but you see that 2nd pack, they still have a chance to catch him, and just behind them, Jason Maines. It's going to be closer. I think if you're Christopher McCall and Jeff Merck, you got to stay tucked in line. Ooh, that 2nd pack is definitely going to catch, and it's going to be borderline on if that 3rd pack being led by Jason Maines and Ken McCall Jr. can catch. Ooh, Zachary Lima's going to pull high. Maybe he's got some damage and he doesn't want to hold up Kevin Fraze. Yeah, he's going to jump behind Kevin Fraze. Kevin is in the draft. So right now, looking like it's going to be a 4-car battle, maybe 5, depending on what the 2 Dale Cup teammates can do. Still no caution, and if we hit the white flag, which it looks like we're going to do, that'll mean no more cautions. White flag is in the air one more time around Talladega. And what can Kevin Fraze do when he gets there? Does he try to push Jeff Merck? Does he stay in line? They still all stay even. Christopher McCall, you know he's got to be thinking about going for the win here. The packs are starting to tighten up. Ooh, Zachary Lima and Steve Korsek, they have a run too. Christopher McCall not pulling out of line yet. We gave Cody a little bit of an offset push. These guys just continuing to close the gap. Boy, this is going to come down to the start-finish line. Oh, no, Jason Maines. They're going to make the move now. That might have been a little too early in the terms of a chance to win it, but if they're going for points, I think they do it now. Just as I say that, they're going to go 3 wide. Zachary Lima trying to help stall that outside line. Jeff Merck looking to the outside now of Cody Nagels. And you better watch the top because we might be going 4 wide here to the start-finish line. Oh, Cody gets into contact. Big wreck out back. There's still wreck. It's going to be side-by-side between Christopher McCall and Jeff Merck. It is going to go to Christopher McCall, though. And what a crazy couple of last laps. But Christopher McCall comes out on top and wins race 11 for Tuesday Night Thunder. My goodness. What in the world just happened? Tell you what, let's go take a look here. Some of the different things that happened. You know what? I think I had initially got confused on the first wreck here with this crash that involved all these guys. This was the crash that I thought Steve Korsek had spun around in this crash initially, but he didn't. As you saw him back up there pushing. So I'm thinking the guy I might have saw was maybe Michael Triscaro. Again, not sure. We're going to have to take a look at it right here. It's hard to see sometimes if they have similar paint schemes. Let's see what happens here. You see into the turn here. Jeff Merck says, all right, that's enough. You're going to leave me a lane here. I'll take it. And he takes Michael Triscaro 4 wide. A little bit of bouncing, but everybody holds it together. Oh, man, that looks like more net code. They never make any contact here. Christopher McCall maybe trying to side draft a little bit. At least it didn't look like. Maybe there was slight contact. Couldn't tell, but once they get together, that starts to spin Steve Korsek. The 77 runs into Zachary Lima. So actually, Steve Korsek bounced off Mike Davenport and saved it. A lot of these other guys, though, unfortunately, not so lucky. Mike Davenport being one of them. He goes down. He's going to collect John Ellis Jr. There is Sean Hill spinning. He gets into Chris Vanderplatz, and those are going to be the 2 guys that are going to go into that inside wall. And then everybody kind of got it sorted back out for the most part. We seemed pretty good, and then all of a sudden everybody wrecked it up even more here off a turn or into the tri-oval. We're going to have to play this one slow. This one I really couldn't tell what initially happened. There's Ken McCall Jr. Oh, Jason Maines. I guess he had to... Wow, there were so many things going on right here. Let's first watch... So this almost happened simultaneously. Watch the 6 first. And then immediately go over to... So the 13, Jason Maines, checks up. Cody Nagels, he gets some net code off Christopher McCall. So he goes up the track. Gets into Jason Maines from that. Jason Maines had to check up for Jeff Merck. And then Zachary Lima and Steve Korsek, they're also going to get together. Steve Korsek was trying to shoot the gap. Boy, those were big, big impacts for a lot of those guys. Looks like Zachary Lima may have ended up coming across the line on his roof. Actually, he does land on all 4. Straightens it out to bring it across the line somehow. And then the battle for the lead. I thought these 2 were going to stay side by side coming to line. Not quite, but it was certainly still pretty close between these 2. Jeff Merck, not quite enough, though. Christopher McCall wins it by just about a car length. Maybe just a little less. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go get your top 3, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. We are here with your 3rd place finisher, Kevin Fraze. Kevin, you got a copy?
Yeah, Austin, how you doing?
Pretty good. Well, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here, but it made it look like there was a ton of net code in that race. I don't know if that was just on my end or what, but it looked like, especially there coming to the finish, there was a lot of netcode going on between Cody and a couple other guys, but either way, you get through it, you bring home third. Tell us about your night.
I managed to dodge every wreck, and I think I got my 4X right there at the end with that netcode that happened with Chris and Cody. Yeah, played a lot of dodgeball there because I think every wreck happened like right in front of me. So it was a fun race. I haven't looked at any of the wrecks yet to see what caused them, but I'm pretty sure the majority were pretty big gaps between people.
And I believe you might be right. I was sitting here checking back on one of the things. Well, either way, congrats on third. You can bring yourself home some money tonight. Before we let you go, is there anyone you would like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thank you to you for putting on the broadcast, Ron, for hosting us and dealing with us all night. And thanks to Dylan, Jason, and John, who were running with us tonight. I think they got caught up in quite a bit of the nonsense that happened on track with that netcode. But it was a fun run. Guys did a good job, and I think we put on a pretty good show for you guys out there.
Well, I would certainly agree. All right, thanks for talking to us, Kevin, and congrats on the third place finish.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. Now we're going to drag in second place finisher here, and that is Jeff Merck. Jeff, you got a copy?
I do.
All right. Well, man, that was a crazy race. I was just talking to Kevin with the amount of netcode that was going on, but when we had racing, the racing was pretty good. You made a move there late. You went 4 wide. Looks like it worked out. You almost got the win, but what more did you need?
3 faster cars in the front that could have pushed and got away, but I still don't think I'd have won the race. I think second was the best I was going to finish tonight, regardless of what we did. What I really needed to happen was when we pushed Toscaro clear, I needed him to clear down in front of the middle lane, but he stayed high. So the only move I had was to force it 4, and then that's kind of when it looked like Lima pushed Corsic too hard on exit and got him sideways, which is what started it.
Well, either way, you score more points tonight. It might move you up even higher in the points. I believe you were sitting third coming in tonight. So good night overall there as we approach the championship race. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, my loving wife sitting over there behind me, letting me do this as a hobby. I really appreciate that. United States Navy Blue Angels, that is the Navy's premier show squadron. They travel the world and do shows. Big shout out to those guys. My teammates, Alex Hill, Matthew Baker, he's off following orders right now in the Navy up in St. Louis, Missouri. Can't wait till he gets back on Saturday. Ghost Racing Network and Austin up in the booth. You always do a great job. Always look forward to going back and doing it. I know there at the end I put mains in a box there by moving up, but we're coming to the checkered flag. If I don't make that move, I finish probably 5th or 6th. So, part of Super Speedway racing, Cody and them got up into him. So I don't think it was anything I done. So I'll take second, and I look forward to going back watching the broadcast.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for talking to us, and congrats on the second place finish.
Thanks, bud.
All right, and now we're going to see if we can drag in your winner tonight, and he should be a pretty happy fella. That's Christopher McCall. Chris, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you get the win tonight, and there's people in the chat saying it's about dang time you get one. You were due for one. You get the win, but there was a lot of netcode going on tonight. But coming to the line, did you think you were going to be able to edge out Jeff Merck before you saw all the wreck behind?
Yeah, coming through the tri-oval, coming to the checkered there, Merck had a good run, but I felt like I was able to stall it well. Kevin gave me the push to get me the win there. This win definitely goes to him.
Well, I mean, you know, you're out here, I'm assuming, obviously trying to fight for the championship battle, but we're talking about mid-race, guys that are trying to go for good points tonight versus guys that are going for the win, and if they get good points, they get good points. Were you planning on getting the win no matter what tonight, or was it initially going for points and then the win just kind of fell there at the end?
Yeah, my whole plan was to just get points and try to build a little cushion before this double points race next week. I was perfectly fine contending pushing Cody. I'm finishing third, even fourth. It's still a decent points day for me. So that was my plan, but then it fell in my lap, and he left the bottom open, and I knew it was going to put somebody in a spot to either push me or split me. So I think I had a chance either way.
All right. Well, either way, works out nicely for you tonight. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I got to thank my teammates, McCullough Motorsports. I'm glad that we can get up there and race. I know Kenny had a run there at the end. It was just a really good race. We raced really hard. I wish iRacing would fix this net code because we can race closer. That's for sure. But yeah, thank you for broadcasting. Thanks for Ron for putting it up. And I want to thank everybody that watches, especially my family. Love y'all. Thanks for all your support.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, and congrats on the win tonight. All right. And before we let everybody hop out of here and go over your finishing results, we just talked to the winner, Christopher McCall. Second is going to be Jeff Merck. Third, Kevin Fraze. Fourth, Zachary Lima. Fifth, Michael Triscaro. David Drohan, sixth. David Sheets, seventh. And then it's going to be Danny Eshelman, eighth. John Ellis Jr., ninth. Jason Maines rounding out the top 10. Dylan Jones, 11th. Steve Korsak, 12th. Sean Hill, 13th. Ron Morse Jr., 14th. Brandon Broadfoot, 15th. Mike Davenport, 16th. Chris Vanderplaat, 17th. 18th, Ken McCall Jr., 19th. Cody Nagels, 20th. Jacob Emery. And the last car in the field tonight and 21st is going to be Mark Von Dell. Well, I certainly hope everybody enjoyed. It was a little bit, like I said, a little bit of a calmer race in terms of the size of the field tonight, but the racing did not disappoint. A couple netcode issues, but what can you do at the end of the day about it? Don't forget, next race, going to be double points race, so it's going to be really exciting. We might have a bigger field. That's going to be next Tuesday. Don't miss out on it, and Ghost Racing Network heads to PGR on Thursday. We'll see you next time, and have a good one.